Entertainment Weekly. I think a lot of you may have listened to our podcast episode with a couple of these guys. Thank you very much for doing that. But yeah, I oversee our movies coverage and our awards coverage, so this kind of blends both of my worlds, and I'm so thrilled to be leading this conversation here tonight with these folks. So let's get right to it, shall we? I got a lot of people to introduce. So up first, executive producer Sarah Schechter.
Woo!
Rachel Wilson.
Woo!
Clifton Collins Jr.
Woo!
The one and only Uma Thurman. Mackie Lopez. Author Casey McQuiston. And stars Nicholas Galitzine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, everyone. I'll get my binoculars out so I can see everyone down there. Thank you all so much for being here. This is a very exciting night. I understand some of you were here at 6 a.m. Wow. And you got some good seats, so good for you. The first question I have is, have we settled the debate who's actually taller?
Well,
It's me. You know it's me.
I think that's
Let's see the
that's
shoes.
an ambiguous. It's an ambiguous
Yeah,
question.
Major lives on last night. I was in flats.
Tonight,
I gave it to him.
All right, yeah. Well, as I mentioned, the Awardist podcast that I host, we kicked off our 2024 Emmy season with these two guys. The biggest numbers ever for a podcast that we've had at Entertainment Weekly. So I don't just extend my thanks to you, but to all of you who listened. I mean, the impact that the fandom has had on this movie. I'd love to start with that. Whoever wants to take it. Matthew, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I think because the book was so wildly popular, we knew that people would pay attention to the film and that people would see the film. We did not anticipate what it became in the world. I mean, you always sort of hope to have an impact, and you pray that you won't get ignored or forgotten. But just the overwhelming response to the film was incredibly heartening, and I think it actually took us by surprise just because it was so overwhelming, and it continues to be, as evidenced by tonight. Yeah.
Sarah, when you and Greg Berlanti were taking a look at this, did you have like an inkling of an idea that this could be something pretty big?
I would love to say yes. I just knew it was a great book. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah.
They know how to write. So we just were lucky.
Thanks.
I'm curious in the writing process, because things that you've made are being adapted. Were you able to take lessons from seeing the making of this film and now apply it to the rest of your work, like as you move forward with things?
Yeah, we were just talking about this today. I think it's made me a better editor of my own work because you really learn to be less precious and possessive and protective of like, well, it's always been this way in my head, so it has to be that way, and like it's gonna stay that way for every round of edits after this. It has really made me someone who is much more flexible with how a story can unfold. I don't stick to my outlines anymore, for better or for worse. And I think that is actually really, really good for me. Yeah.
Well, Taylor and Nick, I gotta ask, we see such wonderful characters here on screen, but I'm curious from the two of you, how close do each of you feel to the person you play, and how do you feel like you either dialed up or dialed down yourself to match these guys' personalities?
We were just talking about that. I feel like Alex is a bull in a china shop, and on set, we're always just joking around and having a good time, and I feel like then you have to 10x it as soon as the scene starts because I'm not Alex energy ever, and he's just bananas. And so I said, I was like, take a shot of matcha and start the set. And whereas with Nick, we have such a great goofy time, and then it's just like, he goes,
There is the physical, like, waving of the hand.
the waving, yeah.
Yeah, what is this my process? Is that what you're referring to?
We're just very different.
Yeah, I echoing what Taylor's saying, you know, I think Henry's, I mean, he's such a feeling person, but I do, I really admire his sort of sense of his moral code, and but I think he's more bound to sort of duty, in a very, obviously, very intense way. Yes.
Is he a water sign? I feel like
He's a Pisces.
Makes so much sense. It makes complete sense. Uma, folks were so excited to see you in this film, and as the president, nonetheless. But we need to make that happen for real. Like,
I'm going to Washington on Monday. I'm going to go see Biden in the Oval Office, actually, for real.
Oh, really?
So, you know, try to put a little energy around.
Yeah. I'm going to guess he will have ask you for advice. See.
That's quite funny. I hope he doesn't, but I know what my advice, I guess, would be, you know, courage.
Exactly, yeah. I love seeing the relationship between the two of you in this so much, especially when he kind of tells Mom, no, the she's a he. But then we get what kind of amounts to the talk. Between, like, you know, like, do we need to talk about Truvada? I hope you're
I mean,
safe.
the fun part is, though, before he says that it's not a she, it's a he, she's like, is it a Republican? like, and then when he's like, no, it's something that is this, and she said,
One is worse than the other. Is where she's coming from. Yeah.
to all people of a certain political thinking, but from her point of view, she's like,
Yeah.
that would be really scary.
But I'm curious, like, lots of laughs during that scene, having that kind of conversation. As adults, I mean, as teenagers, it's awkward, to say the least, but any less awkward as adults yeah, I know you're faking the conversation, but.
I don't know. I mean, I when I sort of thought about the scene, also like as a mother myself, I feel like you know your child in your soul, and like whatever the labels are, or whatever the maybe choices may be, or whatever the other truths are, like it doesn't make you know them any less. Love is not a question either, but that, you know, they're the same person just because they maybe feel a way that hadn't been defined to you before. You still love them the same, and they are still the same.
I would say that is a lot of what is so great about this story is that sexuality isn't what defines them; it's who they are at their core. So, well done.
And that soul is still that soul. Like, you know, there's no the earth doesn't move from that love.
Mm-hmm. Clifton, you have some of those kind of wonderful scenes as well with Taylor getting to, you know, kind of see how he is blossoming into, you know, even politics when we see him get out on the road and all of that. What do you call yourself? Oh, yes, the patron saint of gender-neutral bathrooms. Yeah. Very progressive, very liberal guy, and we love to see it.
That is life.
It's so good. But tell me a bit about, like, just the relationship you guys forged on set.
We went on quite a bit. We took apart the characters and the scenes and things of that nature. It was a good time. It was fun. It was fun, you know, to share and impart some kind of wisdom from my own experiences. Somebody like Taylor, who's so committed. So that was fun. And then also to play a Latino character who's Congressman 1, and then 2, so open-minded and empathetic and understanding and loving of his son, which is not the norm. I think that's what the whole conflict was going in, the fear. I know coming from a Latino family, how I think every Latino here can speak for this. It's very traditional, you know, old world thinking, so it's kind of hard to get through those things, I would imagine. So it was special, and also knowing that the film's had the impact that it's had is really heartwarming.
Taylor
Hi.
said that hello, Taylor mentioned that Alex is a bit of a bull in a china shop. Zara,
Agreed.
more like a Tasmanian devil, perhaps. That the hotel room scene when she busts in, the entire sequence from the where you're moving the I mean, was that all, by the way, was that choreographed on the day that you figured out the going back and forth between the rooms? Can you guys kind of break down that moment?
Yeah, that was choreographed on the day, right? I think I had just flown in. I was jet lagged. I didn't even know where I was. And Matthew's like, action. I'm like, where is she?
You use that to your advantage. Yeah.
What happened?
You use that to your advantage.
Always.
The thing was, it was a tiny room. We were shooting in this tiny space, and Stephen Goldblatt, our legendary cinematographer, I walk in and there is a track at a dolly laid out, and I'm like, Stephen, what are you doing with this track at dolly? He's like, no, trust me, it'll save us time in the long run. And we figured it out, and then Shahi comes on set, and
I'm like, this is all wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And then she's like, my instinct is to do this, that, the other, and Stephen looks and he goes, I take the track out. So you can.
But that was a great scene. Zara, when Matthew approached me about Zara, I had not read the book at this time. I wasn't familiar with it. And then we really talked about our love of screwball comedies from the 30s and Howard Hawks movies. And I grew up watching those, so that was a huge attraction for me to be a part of something. And then the script, it's obviously I am not a gay man, but I saw myself in both of them. And I just really resonated with the message of the story, and it was just so beautiful. When we got to that scene, it was funny because, remember, Matthew, I was telling you, I was like, I don't want her to come across as anti the fellows. I was like, I was nervous because I wanted to make sure she didn't come across like an antagonist to the two guys. And that scene was so important because it also helped me nail Zara in a sense that it's her love of the job. Right. It's her love of the job. It is her undying passion for the president, for the administration. She believes this is her purpose and nothing will get in her way. So it was that scene that I kind of held as an anchor for everything else, right? And then we discussed her meltdown moment when she first sees the two fellas, and it's like a computer having a malfunction, glitching, whatever. Yeah. And so, what does a computer look like when it's glitching? And that's where those kind of that thing came from. But yeah, it turned out to be a really great scene, and it worked, I guess. Yeah.
I love just how in the middle of it, then you guys start talking about who you have told in your life, and back to me. Sorry.
Yeah, back to the campaign, back to the administration, Yeah, it's all
because
business.
how long were you in the closet there? Cupboard. I don't know what else. I was trying to avoid the word closet.
Yeah,
The wardrobe.
Yes, the wardrobe. I was going to say. God, I don't remember. I do remember doing some. I got bored at one point. I started doing some found footage stuff on my phone, kind of a la Cloverfield. Yeah. So there's some footage out there, but I don't know. I mean, it was really fun actually hearing their performances and not being able to see it. I mean, it really gives you a very different perspective of very heightened performances here. But no, it was
I suspect you guys might know this. You do a lot of kissing in this film. So I'm curious, how did you manage the distribution of chapstick and mints?
Oh, we had a Smith's Lord.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a brand of mints in the UK called Smith's.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, they might be you.
Yeah, that might be it.
They might be you.
Let's talk about Smiths.
Every time we were about to start the set, we would use a high voice and call Robbie. I'll do it. We go, Robbie! And then we'd say, Smith's Lord.
Well, Smiths was the most polite
It
of
was.
all the times we called him. But we have a lot of affection for him, and I've worked with him twice now, so he's really a fantastic intimacy coordinator.
The Smiths are the key. There you go.
He had a fanny
Like a
pack.
fanny pack.
And yeah, we'd open it up and have lots of stuff. And then we would run out and we'd be so offended. Like, this is a bad man. He's like, I don't have Listerine. We're like, I want the Smith.
The string strips are strong
Yeah,
too. Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot for a second because you avoided the question when I asked on the podcast. Well, actually, no, you avoided it on the red carpet, but you still would say on the podcast when someone asked you who's a better kisser, Nick or Joey King. I'm not. Joey, by the way, was very upset that you didn't answer. Did you hear about that?
I think I said they could both get it.
Right, but she wanted a clear-cut answer.
He's so competitive.
So competitive.
But my question now to Nick is, who's the better kisser, Taylor or Tony Curran?
Well, I mean, Tony has a very thick beard, which I was not used to at all. And, but then you had the stubble, which was chafage.
I could grow one.
Sequel.
I'm gonna be similarly impartial to the both of them.
Still not an answer. Rachel, as the we can all only hope to have a Nora in our lives, the friend, the confidant. I'm curious what you loved most about getting to bring her to life, and what you loved most about spending most of your time with this guy.
Oh, well, that'll be a short answer. No, I think, you know, when I first read the book, Nora's got all of these beautiful little intricacies and these little, you know, these quirks, and, you know, she folds origami at random events, and she's just this fun, effervescent person, and I think she's so herself, she's so committed to other people getting to be themselves, I think, as well. And I think that was really fun to sort of to bring to life, and also to work with Taylor, you know, to help Alex, you know, bring himself to life. I think she's really good at, you know, allowing people space to just be who they are and not make a big deal out of it. You know, I think the coming out scene, or you know, our scene in the office was kind of representative of that. I think she wanted to allow him the space to do that, but also know that, yeah, this is like, cool. Are we still doing this? Great. So I really enjoyed getting to be that for this film, and that for Alex, yeah.
And Nick, I mean, Henry kind of has that in his own life with Beatrice, that great on-screen relationship with her sister. Can you tell me just a bit about working with her, because you have a bit of a history, right, with Ellie?
Yeah, Ellie is an old friend of mine. Actually, when I kind of first came into the industry, we had the same agent in the UK, and yeah, we were trying to find something to work on together, and I was so pleased that she ended up being my sister. We look nothing alike, but movie magic. No, she's so wonderful, and I think, you know, Henry obviously feels this kind of a claustrophobic force, you know, from his family and the centuries of tradition, and you know, B is not like that at all, and she's in many ways his only kind of confidant, and I mean, she's just such a wonderful actress, so I really cherished all of our scenes together.
Matthew, as you were working on adapting Casey's book, was there one scene in particular that you're just like it was posing just more challenges in terms of adapting it for screen versus, you know, as the way things read as a book can be very different?
Yeah, I think honestly, the biggest challenge was this wealth of wonderful scenes in the book that I knew ultimately wouldn't make it into the film. And for me, it really was, I sort of felt like I had to let go of this expectation that the whole thing would get in, right? Of course it won't. And I just set for myself this very simple goal of, if it does not serve Henry and Alex's story, it doesn't belong in the film. There's no place for it in the film. I think the biggest sort of, I'd call quasi-controversy, was you know, the decision not to have June in the film, because June is a beloved character in the novel.
Did you hear that, like, whisper that went through?
Yeah, I stand by my decision. but I started working on the film. I started working on the script, and I just saw like June has a little bit to do, and then Nora just has a little bit to do, and I called our producer, not our exec producer, but our producer, Sarah Schechter, and then eventually we both spoke to Casey, and I just said, look, I can either give 2 small parts to 2 young actors, or I can give 1 good part to 1 young actor. And I think, obviously, given what we know of Rachel's performance, I feel very confident I made the right decision. But it was not an easy decision to make. And I think that was like, it was like, kill Casey's darlings, you know?
And mine, because it'd be my child.
Yeah. Fair enough. But it really, yeah, there was no particular scene in the book that I actually, once we decided that it needed to be in the movie, because Casey's book was so clear, so filled with detail and so filled with heart that, I mean, the trick of adapting it was just like, how spare can you be without losing the heart of it?
There were a lot of dog-eared copies on set. I think everyone involved and everyone on the stage really has such reverence and love for the book that I think everyone felt a real responsibility. So all of you guys liking it means so much to us, because we were thinking about you every day when we were making it.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but these two, like the last few months, have been on a lot of red carpets, doing a lot of events. And the thing that they keep getting asked is, are we getting a sequel? And they're like, not up to us. Like, it's not, it's up to these other people. So I'm gonna ask the other people who it's actually up to, because we got them right here, right? So Matthew, is there gonna be a sequel? Like, are you working on anything?
Yes, there's gonna be a sequel to the movie.
Yes, there is going to be
News to these guys.
There's going to be a sequel to the film, a sequel film. Matthew and I are writing it together. And that's all we can say.
Skipping the book part, cutting right to the chase. Like, let's get into it. Yeah. Sarah, has this been like long discussions with Amazon?
No, it was just getting it all together. It took some very long phone calls, but I think there was always a lot of enthusiasm, and Matthew and Casey writing together is going to be great, and hopefully everyone on the stage will be in the movie, pending their schedules, because they have a place in my heart and on the set whenever they want. So.
But I was so nervous leading up to that question that I was like, I can't screw this up.
I dropped down into my butt. It was...
Yeah, but that was the big news we've been kind of been waiting Yeah, I mean, hot off the presses. You really are going to start seeing that. It's going to be trickling out into the news here in just a few minutes. You guys, anything in particular, like if you could like plant a little seed of we'd love to do this or that, do you have any thoughts?
Another cake scene.
Wow, not what I thought you were going to say.
I don't think Matthew can go through that much buttercream again.
It was real butter.
There's no buttercream in England left. I mean, I think at the end of the day, what made this film what it is that it was made with a lot of love for the book and a lot of care. And we all, like Sarah said, we had dog-eared copies of the book on set, and we all took it really seriously. We all had fun, and we all made sure that there was a lot of joy in the work, but we knew what the book meant to people, and we were determined not screw it up. And so the only thing I can say about a sequel is that it will be made with the same attention and love
And there is
and
so we
dedication.
can't screw that book up.
Well, on that note, you guys, thank you all so much for being here.